that's quite a
man.
turn. That's quite a fast turn, but okay,
Yeah.
okay, it's fine. Queen Maddie is here. It's okay.
We're gonna jump right into it. I gotta say one thing, like, the people who are all still in the rogue stuff, they have been high key doing, bro. Like, listen, guys, I know rogue's ass, bro. Like, come on, son. Like, let it go. Homegirl, big mad in the back. Big mad in the back, though. Yeah, don't worry, we peep game.
You can't skip the intro.
No,
if you skip the intro, they're gonna kick me out of the X-Men club.
Nah. This is one of the series that never gets its intro skipped. Especially after seeing how they show side by side like this with the old one. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh my god, okay. Whew, calm down.
Justice for my boy Gambit, though. He didn't have to see that last week.
It's alright, we need the drama.
Oh, man.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Changing that to Sunspot instead of Jubilee. Very nice. Oh, that's cute. Stop it. You.
Was that there last week? I don't remember that.
Hold on. It wasn't.
Like, we're just changing it up every episode. Okay. Because that was not there last week. Bro, this is why you can't skip the intros, especially.
I'm fine, Scott. But who she is...
I want to say so much.
You gotta have to save it for the end.
Oh, nice. Nice morph. Spiral sighting.
But the gene that lies on this couch would appear to be the actual Jean Grey.
The actual Jean Grey.
Oh, man.
Is not.
Ergo, our Jean is a clone.
Impossible.
I assure you, the science is sound.
Uh-oh. The drama. The fucking drama.
Storm would have believed me.
She's not wrong. Oh. And here starts the cries of why Scott Summers is lame.
You was just in the wrong. You know what? Let me not.
Same girl, same girl.
Oh, who messing around here?
Band's looking slick, Beast. Must be ready soon.
Kayla just like, bro, so much is happening right now.
I'll be able to make the final modifications to send you back to your time.
Oh, man.
Set in your future.
He said the thing!
Wrong. Scientists, like artists, have signatures to their work. I know who cloned Jean. A man so dark and twisted he can be described as nothing other than sinister.
Which we talked about last week. Oh,
nice, nice.
Oh, father. Oh, damn. Yeah.
Nice. That's a comic book panel.
Oh. Yo, is she about to destroy everything, bro? Oh,
that's
man.
quite a turn. That's quite a fast turn, but okay, okay, it's fine. Queen Maddie is here. It's okay.
The voice and everything.
And all tomorrow too. Wow.
What?
Rogue's really training her
Stop!
Morph,
Don't say
shut
it
the
like
fuck up.
that,
Shut the
bro. Yo, it is literally non-stop them. Nah, bro. Man, my stomach too. Oh man. My man Morph out here instigating. You need to stop, bro. Hello?
Oh, look at him creeping.
Hey,
Okay, you little queer,
yo.
get out of here. Oh shit! Oh shit! Wait, I'm gonna vomit.
What illusions are we happening right now? This is homegirl's powers.
That's gross and cool.
Yeah. Ooh. All right, this is more than just illusions. Oh man.
All right, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. Mm.
You abandoned me, Bishop. Where's your home? When is your time? Where do you belong?
Oh no.
No, you're not real.
We're in hell.
I have so much to say. I have so much to.
You smell like burnt hair. Yo, Cyclops, hit me.
Clean. This is fucking clean. This is so fucking clean.
Amplifying, all right.
Clean.
Yeah.
So...
Oh man.
You're welcome.
Mm. Demonic sensible. Yo, this OST going hard too.
Cause she is
The
Jesus.
one.
She has.
She is the one.
Pathetic.
Hmm.
Does he even see in you? I've been here.
You're okay, Shia. Gambit okay now.
What are y'all doing, you know?
I will lead the others in a surgical strike.
Fine. Lead the way.
Okay.
Not taking two of your brawlers? Okay. But I'll say why.
Oh damn. Just dropped this baby in a pool of goo.
But first, you must be made invulnerable. A new breed of perfect creation.
How are you supposed to breathe, bro?
I
Hmm.
knew you'd follow, Scott.
Hey yo.
It's all you do. Just ask the professor.
Sinister. Use the powers of your mind.
Uh-oh.
I have
Bruh.
things to say
Yeah.
why magic is being used in this. I have many things to say.
Mm-hmm.
Brimstone clone.
Yo, that's clean. Animation on that was clean.
God, look at her go!
Oh. The direction? Yeah, nah, it's the art direction, the camera angles, yeah, this is clean. Hmm. Ooh.
She's like, oh, metal's fun, but
Yeah.
glass is even funner.
Mm-hmm.
I should have you as a toy.
Jesus.
Step on me, please.
Oh.
Oh!
All right, Mr. Summers. Oh.
Queen.
no. Hey, yo.
Don't
This
worry.
is not. This is gonna hurt.
Mm.
My man's is gone.
Me too, darling.
My man's is gone, bro.
Oh my god.
Come on, Judy. Like riding a bicycle. Remember how to control it.
I can't control it.
Just my mind. Right here.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
What you mean to us. To me.
Oh god, Logan, shut up. Move on,
Mm.
girl. That's what she said.
Oh man.
You know, but you know, a girl means business when she puts her hair
Yeah.
up in a ponytail.
My body won't be an issue.
Hmm.
This ends now.
Get fucked territory. Hmm.
Of course. You took my face, my husband, my family.
Damn.
Now my mind. Enough violation.
I had so much to say. Oh my god.
Oh man. Yo.
Power. You tell me who I am.
Oh man.
Which of these memories are yours and which are mine? Can you? I think so. We are what we remember. And you remember nothing. You are nothing!
Jesus.
So much to say. Holy shit. I have so much to say.
Oh man.
If only Xavier's orphans knew the future we have in store for them. What? Impossible.
You stay away from our son!
I mean, hello? I was
That's
just
why he
like-
only did it for the top, so he
Yeah.
doesn't come crashing out.
Yeah.
Your powers are nothing against mine! You monster! What have you done?
It's a
I'm being-
technical
I have-
organic virus.
Yeah.
Sinister was likely exposing Nathan to it in the...
Is not here. Not in our time. But what if there's a cure in yours? Bishop?
Oh, okay.
Oh
Mhm.
man.
Your time, man.
I,
I do know a guy there. Smart. Can build anything.
Bro.
Expand, we've got enough use for
This
Nathan.
is
It's what we promised.
Don't any of you know how it feels to be abandoned?
hmm.
I mean, they all do, Scott. Relax.
Yeah.
Can't be a part of this. I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, your son is literally dying. Like, hello?
Days when you're lonely or scared, where you ask yourself, why would
Hmm.
Wait. This is your. Call me Madeline Pryor.
Mm-hmm.
Farewell, Madeline. Farewell, Jean.
Oh man.
Oh, it's another hot one, Dallas, with no relief in sight. Stay hydrated. Looks like this here drought's sticking.
Shame about the weather. No summer like a Texas summer, but I wouldn't give if someone could just make it rain.
Speak
Hmm.
plainly. Who are you?
Name's Forge, Storm. An old friend of Charles Xavier. I'd like to help you get back what you've lost.
Oh man. Beat drop. So much
Okay.
has
Woo.
happened in this episode. Oh man. It's time for Kayla to cook.
Oh, boy. Okay,
Yeah.
so I like the fact that they made this a horror, pretty much a horror episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of based off the book Inferno. That's why I was like, she's a
Mm-hmm.
monk. That's about basically her sacrificing Nathan,
Mm-hmm.
baby Nathan, to hell, right? All right, so in the comics, it's actually a bit more th- like I think I said I'm pretty sure I said this last week. I think my problem is really going to be pacing because a lot of this got cleared up very
Yeah, and
quickly.
it all in
But
this
that's
episode.
fine. Yeah, it just, we only get 10 episodes. There are now 7 left, so I guess we just got to hit beats where we can. And it's like when we talk about solo leveling, how
Mm-hmm.
they group up the chapters to make one 20-minute episode and how many chapters they use. It's like, all right, well, we're taking one big event, the Inferno, and making it a 15-minute episode.
Yeah.
Because I want to say the last 5 minutes were kind of everything else.
Okay.
Okay, so where do I start? All right, so the Inferno is actually about a book that kind of deals with mostly two characters, which is Ileana Rasputin and Madeline Pryor. That's why Morph. It's a nice shout out to comics readers why Morph transformed into Magic Ileana,
Mm-hmm.
because the book is slightly about her. Is partially about her too, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, okay. So comic books, Maddie starts out as her own character. She doesn't figure out all this gene clone stuff doesn't come until later on.
Mm-hmm.
So Madeline actually has her own life, sort of, um, as a pilot in Antarctica, and that's how her and Scott meet. They get married. She gets pregnant with Nathan. She gives birth to Nathan on her own because Scott's off on a mission with the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so through all that stuff, at some point as well, there's like a whole bunch of comic book stuff that happens that leads up to Inferno. There's a handful of X-Men that end up faking their deaths. She ends up joining them in Australia. It's generally what's known as the Outback era. That team is like Madeline, Storm, Wolverine, uh, Betsy, Braddock, Rogue, um, Havoc, and Colossus in Australia. Um, and then through a bunch of stuff, one of the demons that has connection to Ileana kind of starts tempting Madeline, and talking about, you see how your husband has left you, you see how your husband doesn't care, you told him to go look for your son, because also like Madeline sacrifices herself with the X-Men, so everyone thinks Madeline is dead. Scott thinks Madeline is dead, but it's also leading up to Jean ends up coming back at some point, so he's kind of pulling away from her anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, she sees on the camera that Scott and Jean are back together, so she kind of starts losing it. She's like, I've lost my baby, I've lost my son. That's why a lot of people say Scott Summers ain't shit. Um, this was a good,
Yeah.
like, callback to that as well. Him going, "I just can't be a part of this." Like, "Bitch, that's your baby. You gotta be a
Yeah.
part of this," right?
Yeah.
Um, so basically the demon starts tempting her, and it's what she sells her soul pretty much.
Yeah.
And is like, "Well, we need to sacrifice your son," and all this stuff. Like, read the Inferno. It's a really popular, good book. It's on my checklist. I just know a lot of the bullet point details.
Mm-hmm.
All the sinister stuff does come into play at the fact that she is the clone, but it's not so much sinister's machinations as they allude to in this adaptation of it. It's more so, I believe it's the demon Belasco machinations, and is what turned Madeline into the Goblin Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Um she hell pretty much takes possession of New York, and it's like a whole thing, like, um so that's why I also like that, you know, uh she basically took over the X Mansion, so it's pretty much just a smaller, a very condensed, quick speed run of the Inferno in this pocket of the episode.
Okay.
Um I said last week, Madeline doesn't necessarily have Jean's power. She kind of just has a small amount of it because she hasn't had the training of Jean, so she doesn't really start exhibiting these powers until later. It's more so the goblin, what is known as the goblin force or demon force that she ends up mostly using, right?
Yeah.
Um, I would love to talk more about magic, but I could only say that, since this isn't about magic, it's just nice for them to have the Easter egg because that story ties between Madeline and Ileana magic. So
Hmm.
that was a really, really cute Easter egg. Um, what can I say next? Okay. They definitely did a speed run of Jean and Madeline coming to terms with each other because that actually doesn't happen until recently in comic books,
Hmm.
where they've come to an understanding of who each other is and accepting each other as family now at this point.
Yeah.
Um, so considering that book happened in the 80s and that story only just recently happened 2023, 2022, that's they really were just like
Yeah.
let's just get it out the way. They're not friends, but they have an understanding, which I can really appreciate. Um, Nathan does get infected by the techno-organic virus. I do believe it is by Sinister. I really don't care much about Cable, so it's very much on the
Hmm.
bullet points that I know. But in the comics, what happens is it's not Bishop that takes Nathan into the future. It's actually Rachel, other world
Daughter.
his other universe's older sister
Sister.
who
Wait, sister or
also
is it? Wait,
yes.
sister.
So
Okay.
Rachel Summers
Summers.
is
Okay.
the
Oh, that's
daughter. Yeah.
yeah. That's why I was like, wait a
Rach-
minute. I remember it being daughter, but yeah.
yeah, Rachel Summers is the Days of Future Past daughter universe of Jean and Scott.
Okay.
She ends up going back in time to the 616 universe trying to fix the Days of Future Past, but through comic book multiversal bullshit, it's not her universe that she ends up saving, it's the parallel universe. In that parallel universe, Scott and Jean don't have a daughter,
Hmm.
but she still views them as her mother and father. So basically, she tries to go fix her timeline so the Days of Future Past never happens. But is it the Days of Future Past? No, yes, because yes, it is. So much comic book knowledge in my head. It gets very jumbled. Um, and this is a lot. Like the fact that this is so many years
that
in my
they're
brain that I'm
yeah.
trying to like ugh. So that's why I especially when I posted this on my TikTok, I was like, if I get any information wrong, please be kind in correcting me because it is a lot in my brain and I can only organize it so appropriately to
Yeah.
try to also make it fit in the context of X-Men 97. Anyway, so in the comics it's actually Rachel that takes Nathan into the future where he finds a cure for the it stops the growth of the techno organic virus, him then becoming Cable and then going back in time
Hmm.
to the 616 timeline and getting to know Scott Jean. Um not he doesn't really get to know Madeline because when he comes back into into that timeline, I believe Madeline is dead. So he views Jean as his mother. There's also a point in the comics too where instead of she and Jean at some point, I think also at the end of Inferno ends up absorbing all of Madeline's memories, so it's like she birthed Nathan.
Hmm.
A lot of us are not a big fan of that plot point, but anyway, so he ends up in turn, even though he knows Madeline is his mother, Jean raises him in a way. There's also another book called uh, The Adventures of Phoenix, Cyclops and Phoenix, where they
Yeah.
end up also going in the future as well and help raising Nathan. It's a lot. Comic books are a lot. So that's why my brain is like trying to piece it all together. Anyway, that doesn't matter. What matters is in the comics, it's not Bishop that takes him back, it's Rachel. I'd say I have a little bit of an issue with that because I feel like it's kind of that it's what the X-Men live action movie Days of Future Past did with Kitty and Wolverine.
Yeah.
In the books, it's more of a Kitty Pryde story than it is a Logan story, but because of how bros work out movies, they made it a Logan story. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's kind of how I feel this is, but I get it. Rachel isn't introduced in this universe, so you can't just all of a sudden be like, here's our future, not future daughter, taking our current baby, not our baby, to the future. You have to be like, here's a guy who's already here from the future.
Yeah.
Let the guy who's already here
From the
move the
future.
story
Yeah.
along, take the baby into the future so that he comes back in time as Cable. Because in the original series, Cable does come back. He is in the original X-Men
Yeah.
animated series at some point. Um, yeah, so that's that. Um, it was this had a lot of really good Easter eggs. This was a lot of fun. I love the art direction of it. I don't quite know how else to explain the situation that's happening
Yeah.
just because it's so much comic book history that they condensed and they had to change for this universe to explain the situations that are happening, but still making it sort of like the comic books of the 90s
Yeah.
without having all the characters that played parts in these stories.
Yeah.
Because again, like I said, they introduced Ilyana in in one of the Colossus episodes of the original animated series, but she's just a kid. Since they don't introduce the new mutants, you can't really have Ilyana going into being taken, going into hell, being abused. Like none of that happens in the cartoon. So
Yeah.
you can only do a really cool Easter egg that I'm sure I hope when I go look on later that a lot of us ex girlies really end up appreciating. So I really did like that. Um the Forge and Storm of it all goes back to okay, so like I said,
Mhm.
last week, Storm does end up losing her powers in the comic. She ends up losing her powers to save Rogue. The
Yeah.
shot that from the gun is a gun that was made by Forge's mind,
Mhm.
that the government is using.
Which you
Rogue
mentioned
is in
last
the
week. Yep.
crosshairs. Rogue is also a young kid. Storm is like, no. Storm ends up getting shot instead of Rogue. And that's also is what helps turn or kind of more so solidify Rogue in the X-Men, right?
Yeah.
Um, so Storm and Forge have a long history together, and I like that it's definitely going in the pace of that. So I'm happy to see Forge, and I'm happy to see how they forge their relationship in this universe, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
I actually think he appeared in the OG animated series, but I have to do like there's so much I have to do a rewatch because like some of it is in my head and a lot of it isn't there
Yeah.
anymore because it's so long ago. Um, but yeah, all the Madeline stuff was really great. Like I said, you have to condense it and make a whole event
Around
that
it.
happened
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe, condense it to what characters and what plot lines you have already in play, and also make it all fit and go as quickly as you can with only a 10 episode series.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I loved how like for me it's just like I like more Madeline's story in the comics, of course, because it
Mhm.
fleshes her out as her own character. It gives her her own history, and then entangles in all the X-Men bullshit.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, just having her believe she's Jean, and then having her automatically assume the title of the Goblin Queen, which isn't given to her by Sinister. It's given like it's because of all the health stuff.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm just like, that's fine. I guess you have to be okay with it in context of the show. The whole the when a lot of the stuff that I was like getting hyped over is when she was looking when Jean 2 was looking into Jean 1's brain and all
Yeah.
the Jean's faces were gone.
Yeah.
That's a big um character signifier and plot point story arc for Madeline because there's a time where a lot of people are telling her she's nothing, she's not real, you don't exist, you're just a clone, you're nothing. So I also
Yeah.
really like that. That was her fight the whole time. But there's like a famous panel where um I forget if she's dreaming or I keep wanting to say Belasco, but I don't think it's Belasco. I think it's someone else, another demon that's like showing her a vision of Scott taking pieces of Madeline off to stick it onto Jean Grey. So at
Yeah.
the end, she's just a blank
Canvas.
mannequin.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just a blank. She's nothing. She's no one.
Yeah.
All her life, belongs to Jean. Everything about her is Jean's. So for me, just showing that, like, I thought that was like, I don't know if
Pretty
that was their
cool.
intention, but
Yeah.
it felt like a nice Easter egg callback to me, which got me like I was quiet through this whole episode, just taking
Yeah.
in as many Easter eggs and just eating the animation up because the fight scene was gorgeous. And they
Yeah.
animated the fuck out of that. I
Yeah.
like that they made Madeline really strong, that she held her own against the X-Men,
Hmm.
against at least Magneto and Scott
Yeah, because
and
they
Bishop
got
who are
bodied.
who are yeah, who are pretty powerful. And she was just like, no.
Yeah.
Um, I also did like the fact that, like I said, in the comics a lot is very much just like like a whole thing that plagues on Madeline's brain is that
Hmm.
she's not real, she's nothing, that she basically smacked uh Beast's findings, Beast's
Yeah.
petri dish. It's just like like I said, she was like, "Bitch, I think not."
Yeah.
Just like kind of making a statement of your findings are bullshit. I am who I am, me. I'm the
Yeah.
one. I am a person. You're not gonna tell me through your science that I'm not a person.
Yeah.
I've lived this life. I had this son. This happened. You
Yeah.
were all here. Um, so I thought that was pretty cool. Her kind of devolving into I know who I am to every other piece of everyone else around her like doubting who she is.
Yeah.
Which I think is it's not imposter syndrome. I mean, I guess it could be. Because they kept trying to refer to her as Jean and then stopped calling her Jean and then
Yeah.
try to keep calling her a clone or an it or a she.
Yeah.
Um and then everyone not believing her, so that's like
Yeah,
I
why
thought
why
that
would
that
she want to live in the household when that is gonna
right.
constantly go on? She's like, oh, this is as much as your home is. Nah, I'm
Nah,
my
it's
own
not.
person. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm
So I really
gonna head out.
appreciate that
Yeah,
that she was just like, "I wanted my own life. I wanted to be out of here for a while anyway, so peace, bitches. I'm out."
yeah,
So I hope that just, means she comes back later, or we get to see the life that she makes for herself, which I hope she becomes a pilot in Antarctica and, they kinda tie in her backstory in that way.
do that way. Yeah,
And so, like, I know everyone was hyping up Scott last week, I was too. Scott was, like, really doing the
and
feats,
and
but
and
this
then
was a
you get
good
it this week, and then he's back to
yes,
being shitted on.
yeah,
Because I can only
exactly.
imagine
This
how
is
Twitter is gonna be like. There's like, we can't get at like more than 1 week of appreciating Scott before we got to shit on this man.
right, and it's very much just like, a lot of the bad taste that comes into no pun intended, that we have in our mouths, a lot of us for Scott Summers. It's not even that he's a Boy Scout or not cool. A lot of us know on the baseline he's a cool, decent dude. He's a good leader. I will never doubt that Scott. I will always good leader, Scott Summers.
Yeah,
He's especially in the last like 20 years, down for the cause, down for his people. He's the man you want leading your team when it's, for protecting mutants and for protecting uh, not the wider public as a whole.
mm-hmm.
You could trust your man Scott Summers. Um but it is very much just like, in the comics, he started a life with Madeline, and then just slowly starts abandoning her because Jean is back, and then ends up starting a family with Madeline, even though every we like to drive home that yes, he didn't know that Madeline was still alive because she couldn't tell him. He thought his son was dead. He didn't know. But it's just very how comics go and how these writers or people in power want these people on on the above want these stories to flow. They want your high school romance back, so they push for Jean and Scott to be
Yeah,
together, right? So then you have that, and it's just like, oh, dude straight up abandoned his wife and his baby and stopped caring and just went back to his old girlfriend, and like that's fucked up. And
yeah,
it's a real fucked up to have that character go on that journey.
yep,
But then when later on, right, it's kind of like so he's with Jean, they end up getting married, but then he ends up cheating on Jean with Emma Frost, and no one's gonna shit on Emma Frost. And like, I love my bitch. That's a comedy queen. Like, like having there's a famous comic book panel of Jean walking in on Scott and Emma is like her face, blonde hair up to here, and then the rest is red, and she's in the Dark Phoenix outfit while they're in
yeah,
bed. Like comedy queen,
yeah,
like gag 'em. So it's just like, yeah, okay, well, fuck Scott Summers, right?
Yeah.
Because it's pretty much like you cheated on your 2 wives. You cheated on your first wife, technically not really,
Yeah.
but you cheated on your first wife with your old girlfriend, got back with your old girlfriend, married your old girlfriend, and then cheated on your girlfriend, your wife with someone else. Like it's a
Yeah,
lot. It's a
it's
lot.
yeah.
So I mean, and aside from just uh, up, I want to say up until recently, because I personally became like more of a Scott Summers fan. When he was leading, it's in the X-Men comic books, it's called the Schism. When he was leading his own team of mutants, um, trying outside from the school
Hmm.
and just fighting for mutant rights, and that's really pulled that's been a really good thread that they pulled through Krakoa.
Hmm.
And the way they've just crafted his character in the comics has made me appreciate him a lot more, especially with age and just understanding the nuances of these stories and the nuances of who's writing the books and who's calling the shots.
Yeah.
So that's why it was great to see everyone championing him last week, but it's so funny to have it in your face, like, oh yeah, that's why a lot of us don't like him. Man's just straight said, I can't be a part of this decision making for my child.
Yep.
Bitch, get out of
I,
here. What are
yeah.
you doing?
Like
Um
that's an L for sure.
yeah. So it's just like it's so funny too, because like now I like the shot that they left it with the bedroom being destroyed and him and Jean on opposite ends, because
Yeah.
now it kind of leads into, well, how do you fix a relationship with someone who you don't even know when they weren't around?
Yeah.
She may have now Madeline's memories of these situations, but they don't know, like they
Yeah.
said, we don't know when we got switched, we don't know when this happened. Who Where does your
That
life end
story.
and my life begin?
Yeah.
So another interesting thing is that the Hellfire Club was introduced in the original series. The fact that they're bringing Emma Frost back into this series leads me to believe that they might start pushing the Scott and Emma relationship because of
Fallout.
the friction between
Yeah.
Scott and Jean because of this Scott, Jean, and Madeline situation.
Yeah.
So it's really gonna be interesting to see the temperature people have and the thought process people have for Scott in the next couple episodes and how they're gonna lay that out. I'm
Yeah.
excited because it's just drama, right? This is like you were saying, it's a
It's-
fucking soap opera. We need this drama. It's so much fun.
yeah. Uh,
Um,
Speaking of drama, I mean, when you have Gambit, Rogue
mm,
Magneto stuff going on in the background of all this, and
yeah,
then Morph being the ultimate instigator of this entire thing, you're just like, oh yeah, they have it booked out for 2 hours, another 2 hours. Oh, look at that! It just keeps on going. Looks like that, they're having a lot of fun. And then they come out of nowhere. Where were you two guys when this shit was going down? One cool Easter egg I wanted to mention is that when
mm,
they were in Jean's memories,
mm,
and how baby Jean had a Cyclops in her hands as a doll, which I
mm.
thought was pretty telling. A small Easter egg because we all know this relationship. But yeah,
It's a strong Marvel relationship that's been around for millennia, you could say. So
yeah,
I always like when they do stuff like that, especially for them. As for the Rogue Gambit Magneto thing,
yeah,
someone brought up that, like, so like I'm on the fence about it, because though I like the drama, like I said last week, I'm not a fan of the Rogue and Magneto relationship in the
mm-hmm,
comics. It's fine. They do take away a lot from each other. They do grow because of each other,
mm-hmm,
so I appreciate that on a character growth level.
yeah,
But someone had pointed out that I they were like, what's most frustrating is that in the first episode, they lead you to believe that Rogue and Gambit are together, but they're not
yeah,
dating. It's still the whole I like you, but we can't, but
yeah,
let's try. But they're not boyfriend and girlfriend essentially.
yeah,
And they also pointed out that considering that the OG series didn't really lay out that Rogue and Magneto had a relationship, it kind of just threw it out there. So it kind of just, for the fans who don't know, who don't read the books, it kind of just feels like, oh, she's really doing our guy dirty. But it's like,
mm-hmm,
well, it's only because of how they're plotting it. It's not. she's not intentionally doing your guy dirty, and I don't even
Yeah.
think she sees it in her head, but the fact that they didn't establish that Rogue and Magneto had a relationship prior to whatever happened last week,
Yeah.
and also not stating clearly if Gambit and Rogue are officially together, it makes it look like she's stringing Gambit along. But it's also like she's not because she can't touch him and they may flirt a lot,
Yeah.
but they're not, you
Yeah.
know, together. Here's a man that she can't touch, so you can't deny old girl that. Like, come on. Um,
Yeah.
but I thought that was a real good point to be made. Um, and I think a lot of people need to come to that understanding. And again, I think a lot of it is rage bait, the arguments back and forth about at least those three.
Mhm.
Um, don't like it, but it's also very much just like, well, like I said, what I feel is gonna happen is Jean might pull more towards Logan,
Yeah, in this
and Scott
timeline.
might pull more towards Emma.
Mhm.
So that'll be a drama, but because X-Men is a soap opera anyway, you also need a fourth, third or fourth relationship to also have drama in it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit thing. Um, I got my life when they did. So there's that famous X-Men cover of Rogue and Magneto in the Savage Land. So that's
Mhm.
what Gambit was pretty much seeing in the room that he
Mhm.
opened. So I was like, that's cool. That's gross that they're melding, but cool. I also like that Morph is kind of flirty with everyone.
Mhm.
But it seems like he's more flirty with Wolverine, which I
Yeah,
think is
Logan.
super cute.
Yeah.
In like in that annoying little sibling way of stop flirting with my friends or stop being a jerk to my friends, you fucking weirdo, right?
Yeah.
And I do like that he's being the little or they're being the little instigator and like because he was doing the same thing with Logan last week where
Yeah.
he, transformed into Jean at the curb.
This man
And
is the ultimate troll, bro.
right. So I think that's really good to give him like he's also as we saw in this episode he's a character they are not I think
Mhm.
do they have pronouns? I don't know what their pronouns are. Well, I'll say he for now.
Mhm.
Um that he is a very traumatized character
Yeah.
from what happened to him with Sinister and what happened to him in the original series. Um so I like that they showed that he's at a point in his life where even though this very traumatic thing happened, this is
Yeah.
his family. He knows I have to do what I have to do to help my family. And I like that he shouted out to that like, hey, we can't hurt Madeline. Oh, we can't hurt the Goblin Queen because she's a victim too, and she is. So
Yeah.
I thought that really touched my heart a lot, just to drive home like it's not her fault that this is happening. Um, but yeah, so I know I just talked a lot and and I'm sorry, but it's just like it was so much information gathering and like I have to rewatch this episode
Yeah.
because I think my brain was just working overtime to connect all the
All the
dots
dots.
comic book wise to try to make it make sense for the series that I'm just like it fried at some point.
Yeah.
So I definitely need to rewatch it, but yeah.
No,
Sorry. Sorry
it's all
guys. Sorry.
good.
I'm just very passionate about the
No,
X-Men.
no, this is why it was the session was called like Kayla Cook. That's what happens. And there was a lot.
Sorry.
There was a lot to
Yeah,
unpack. You know. Yeah.
there was a lot in that episode to try to figure out and for my brain to figure out like
Yeah.
and I will always make it a point. I have not read every single X-Men comic, but I'm pretty good at the bullet points.
Mhm.
So if ever my information is wrong, please feel free to correct me, but be cool about it. Like don't be a
Yeah.
dick about it. Not that I know if any of our Patreons are X-Men fans like me
Yeah.
or, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to hit me up.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm so happy to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I'm sorry. It was a lot. I apologize.
No. This is why the section is like Kayla Cook. Yeah, like yeah, because especially where I have not read many, if any, uh of like say the a lot of the comics related to the X-Men. Like mainly it might
Mhm.
be like certain characters and whatnot. But even so, it's like there's a lot to intake. Like the one thing mentioned about Rachel Summers, like the one thing I remember reading a long time ago is because there was like this whole type of thing with one of her sisters being, was it Spider Girl 3, I think the thing was. Like, and I remember like that was like, because there was like so much going on like when I was like reading different comics and like learning
Mhm.
about different information and whatnot. And then that's why I found it funny when when Rachel was mentioned, especially the whole thing about Cable being within the path of Nathan, and then
Mm.
you mentioned it last week, Charles Nathan. So it was Nathan. The full name was Nathan Christopher Charles Summers. Yeah,
In the comics, it's Nathan Christopher Summers.
yeah,
Christopher after Scott's father, Corsair, who is a Starjammer. His name is Christopher Summers.
yeah,
They changed it in the animated series in last week's episode to
yeah,
Nathan Charles Summers to name him after Charles Xavier.
yeah.
Um, I'm like 100% sure during their Phoenix Saga episodes they met the Starjammers, but I
Mm-hmm,
don't think that they revealed that Corsair is Scott's dad. I
mm-hmm.
can't remember that. But in the comics, it's a known thing now.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's a lot to unpack, especially like, and I feel like that's how it's gonna be every episode. So
Mm.
don't worry, every episode there's gonna be let Kayla cook.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's nothing to apologize for. This is why it's content that you're, super hyped about. Because it's like literally, it's like the opposite of like we said earlier. Because usually it's me explaining the stuff about different anime, but now it's like we have this new animated medium, and
Mm.
I want to expand more upon this more. Because it's like it's a clash of two
Yeah.
animated mediums that we're consuming, and that the people here on YouTube and Patreon are going to be consuming as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I also
because
I
yeah,
also just gotta say though, guys, I am an anime nerd. I am a fucking anime nerd. Like I am a legit anime nerd. I
hmm
can't really say it, but I'm a
hmm
nerd. Um, but my specialty is the older stuff. I checked
yeah,
out of a lot of new stuff. So that's why I always find it so fascinating because like if you watch our other videos,
hmm
he Mike throws a lot of things at me and a lot of these series that even though they've come out 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
yeah,
I wasn't really checking for anime then. I'm kind of sort of barely checking for stuff now. Like I think the only one that of the newer stuff that we've
hmm
watched currently, I suggested Dungeon Meshi because I
hmm
saw the commercial for it, right?
yeah,
Any of the old school stuff is usually me, like Magic Knight Rayearth is the thing that I clocked.
yeah,
Couple other ones we have in store for you. I think anything new that I was like, I think we should check out is the Otaku Elf that
hmm
maybe we'll start watching, and then the elf that's trying to lose weight because I think that's
yeah,
something you and I will both like.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's like I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression that I'm not an anime nerd. I am, just an old school anime nerd.
Hey man, this is all about cartoons at the end of the day.
Yes.
Like at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Cartoons. Don't worry, there'll be some live action stuff we'll be checking out in the near future. So for those of you who are interested in that, that will be coming in due time. But I guess we'll leave things off here. Until next week when you can cook even more, because I'm pretty sure they're going to have a lot more in store for us. Most I hope maybe they'll be reintroducing Ember Frost in the next few episodes.
I mean,
Yeah.
for how it feels like the story is going, since they made it a point in the previews from 2 years ago to show that Emma Frost is coming back,
Mm-hmm.
um, I just feel that there's gonna be that whole now how that's gonna happen, I'm not sure, but considering that there is now this fissure in Jean and Scott's relationship, this big Maddie fissure that
Yeah.
is in Jean and Scott's relationship, and the fact that they're kind of high key playing up the yearning from Logan towards Jean, which
Yeah.
again, girl, go with God, but it kind of just leaves it open to Logan, at least in this universe, finally getting his chance to be with Jean and
Yeah.
something going on with Emma and Scott, which is fine to me because though I personally don't like Emma and Scott together, their dynamics are quite interesting
Mm-hmm.
and very, I don't want to say fun. It's sort of fun to see, but
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I'm of the camp that Jean and Emma are the ultimate power couple, and they need to start, talking and kissing and hugging. That's just me. Um, and also just like to in the last couple years, especially thanks to Krakoa, the Krakoan era, it has put a positive spin on the Scott, Logan, and Jean relationship by kind of showing you that it's not just Jean in the middle falling for these two guys.
Yeah.
Now it's the three of them are in a relationship together, and they're all having a good time
Yeah.
together,
Thruple.
which I think is a very appropriate.
A thruple. Yep.
Yeah, I find that with just their history, I think it's a very important character progression for the three of them to come to terms with just feelings for each other and, kind of being a power throuple with Emma just kind of like sort of with Scott, but not really with Scott in the last couple years. There's
Yeah.
that also that yearning there. But yeah, Jean
Then,
and Emma for me need to.
because then they do it like a Emma and an Iron Man thing too. In
Yes,
comics. Yeah.
right now in comics, Emma Frost and Tony Stark are married,
Yeah.
which a lot of us were like very hesitant about, but it's been very fun to see their
Mhm.
relationship. I'm not an Iron Man fan, but I will consume things that are X-Men adjacent or that they're
Yeah.
involved in, and they make sense on paper, and they make sense on we're both two traumatized individuals
Hmm.
who have been dragged through the dirt, and they're both going like in comics right now. Stark technology is being used to hunt mutants.
Mm.
There are Iron Man Sentinels. So like his technology, it's a whole thing. It's a comic book thing, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
they end up getting married, and yeah, it's been. I don't know. I feel like if you look at it objectively, it's a cathartic relationship for two troubled adults
Yeah.
who have money and are trying to fix shit
Yeah.
for their people. Yeah.
Oh
So I
man.
think I'm for it.
I hope that Marvel and the executives behind this series, and especially Disney, see the response that X-Men 97 has gotten. It makes me think, what the hell did what the showrunner did before to get fired from the
Yeah,
production?
a lot of people,
Yeah.
it's not been really revealed. It's all speculation. People are like, it's because he has an OnlyFans, and a lot of us are just like, okay, so what?
Yeah.
A lot of X-Men fans, I'm sure, have OnlyFans, and the X-Men are pretty sexy, well, as we saw with all the
Yeah.
fucking innuendos in this episode, because that shit was also crazy too. Every third line was an innuendo.
Yeah.
Um, and
Cause
then other
like this
people are
is getting
speculating
rave
that he
reviews. Yeah.
yeah, other people are speculating that he was a terror to work with. I know last year or leading up to the show, he not I can't really say I'm a fan of his, but I know he was kind of saying some wild shit
Mm-hmm.
before, that made the X fans like look at him differently.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and this is a big hit, and no one's really saying why he was let go.
Yeah.
If it was for stupid reasons, then bring him back. But if it was for serious reasons, then we can't really be upset that he's not working on this
Yeah.
production anymore.
Especially because it's like getting massive review, like
Yeah,
positive reviews. So, and I mean, this episode's another is
yeah,
most likely gonna be another massive hit. And I mean,
yeah.
to think that production wise, usually it amps up. Like usually the first 2 episodes, 3 episodes, they flex the production budget, right?
Hmm.
I felt like episode 2 had got the better end of the production compared
Hmm.
to episode 1. But then you get this episode, which is like animation wise, is better than the last 2 episodes. I can only imagine what the final episodes are going to be like and whatever they have
Hmm.
planned in store for us.
Yeah,
As they continue to do these adaptations and then pull from the different mediums within the comic book. So we'll leave things
and
off. Oh, unless you have
I
something
also
else,
want to
yeah.
say that they're also like really liking to push a point that this is in the 90s universe. So if we
Hmm.
see Spider-Man, Iron Man, or the Fantastic Four, or
Yeah.
any of the other Easter eggs from that time, I think like I feel like that's also incoming as well. So I think that's
Yeah.
gonna be really cool too. So
The pop offs that will happen for a
yeah,
lot of people because
yeah.
it just opens up the possibility of okay, we're about to get more animated Marvel stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, we don't need any more. Look. Just because I just said I like Iron Man and Ever Frost together, I don't need another Iron Man property, and I sure as fuck don't need another Spider Man thing unless it's Miles Morales. Because I look, I know we're trying to wrap up, but I will say if they do that, I feel it's taking shine off of the X-Men again. I think we need to let the X-Men breathe and have their shine. Only because Marvel has been burying them for the
Mhm.
last couple years. So let this breathe. Let X-Men just be the X-Men. Even though I feel like there is a Spider-Man animated series coming out.
Yeah.
But it's not in this universe. It's a brand new series, which I'm
Yeah.
excited for. I do really want to watch it. But I think I really I'm crossing my fingers that this just makes more X-Men stuff and not make Marvel go, "Oh, we need 12 more Captain
Yeah.
Americas, we need 12 more Iron Man," when it's like the Batman problem. It's Batman
Yeah.
Superman problem to me. It's like you guys have 100 Batman Superman properties, you gave me 3 Wonder Woman things.
Yeah.
That's how I feel in the last couple years with X-Men. You have 1,001 Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy of all things. We're
Yeah.
just talking about that in,
Yeah.
for
In the
the
last,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Uh,
it is very much just like please let X-Men stuff breathe and grow and like just do something for our ex-girlies because we have really been without for a very long time, and especially now that they're taking Krakoa away, it's rough out there. I'm glad that this is happening, and I hope this just pushes more X-Men stuff.
yeah.
Um, I hope that it puts that in their head.
Well, we got it remains to be seen. Hopefully, we get an immediate season 2 technically built from
Yeah.
this. But yeah, we'll leave it off for that, folks, and we'll catch you guys next time for next week for more X-Men. I already know. Doses.
Slingers.